Hello, and welcome back to Profound. And today we have an episode on something that is truly important to me and something that I've come across in my life. And these types of teachings really changed the way I think, and I think for the better. And today I'm going to be talking about the cosmic drama and the interconnectedness of everything around you. So the story starts here. Let's imagine God, someone or something that can just do anything they want at any point in time, anything they've ever imagined they can do. So let's say they've done all these things that they've ever imagined, and anything that could bring the most pleasure, the most pain, but God knows He's God the whole time. And if you think about it, if God has done this millions and millions and millions of times in each scenario, and God knows God's every time, then God starts to lose a little bit of fun each time He does something. And eventually, when God has done everything He can possibly do, it sits there and it goes, well, I've done everything I have possibly done, and there's nothing else for me to do. And God feels so alone. So God goes, well, let me try this, but let me forget for just a couple hours that I'm God and I am actually this character. And then God goes and plays this game, and He comes back and He goes, oh wow, what a joy it was. Now I realize who I truly am, and that was so special because of that. And because God was able to forget, He was able to live again. And this is a very important concept to me. And as we continue in the story, God eventually wants to forget longer and longer and longer, and each time God resets for a little longer, and then eventually God goes, well, let me just forget entirely that I'm myself. And there the universe begins, and the first light sparks, and the first life emerges, and life continues to multiply and spread throughout the cosmos as planetary systems and galaxies form over time and space. And it creates this ginormous creation of one into many. And that's where life comes in. Life comes from one and separates into many. It's the story of evolution. It's the story of our universe. It's entropy. And we try to separate life from other life, and we give it these classifications just because it looks different or it smells different. But all in all, everything is just life. And we're just putting names on different forms of life. Like, we call each other Jim and Bob, but we could just be saying hi life and hi life. Or the frogs in the pond is life jumping on life. It's a frog jumping on lily pads. This is all just different forms of life expressing itself. And as we went over in earlier episodes, the principle of duality, there needs to be non-life for there to be life. But essentially, that life is there to give that non-life life. We are giving that rock life by putting our consciousness on it, which is in turn giving it life because we are experiencing it. And it's hard to really think of everything as this like one living entity that's kind of like interconnected, but we can even see it on the Earth. They found that the Earth even has a heartbeat. Our Earth is a living planet. The planet is constantly changing, and it releases an energy and a frequency that is the Earth's life energy. I can dig into this a little bit by talking about just a food chain. We learned about food chains in school, and how if one animal goes out of this chain, the whole system disrupts and all the animals can die. And this food chain kind of exists on a larger scale as like bees as pollinators and plants as photosynthesis that gives us the oxygen that we need, and us giving the plants the carbon that they need, and the sun that gives the light for the production of all the energy. And it's all this giant working process that's all working together. There's nothing separate about any of it. The only reason that we think any of this is separate is because we've separated ourselves from it. We've kind of disrupted our own balance, as I talked about in the last episode, and we are no longer aligning with nature, which is in our true accordance, because we evolved from nature and we evolved from the sun. And you think about it, and everything is just a giant working part of a whole. It is this giant sort of interconnected web, and even quantum science is starting to confirm this. I mean, with the concept of entanglement, how one molecule can be attached to another one on the other side of the universe, and how everything is kind of connected through this interconnected web, which is known as string theory. And each animal is kind of just an extension of life from the past animal. Our brain is just the evolution of life's brain. We are just the next form of life that's taken step. And it's truly important to understand that and not fall into the illusion of separation. Because I think when you go into all these religious stories, it's all kind of going back to the fact that like God exists within you. In the Bible, I know Jesus said God exists within you, and in Hindu and Buddhist texts, you are everything and everything is God. So you are just one little piece of the puzzle, and the giant action that makes up everything is the source. It is one that encompasses all, the mighty spark that exists within all. And I think us being the next life form of life that has reached the pinnacle of existence, we need to take back control of what is ours and reclaim ourselves in the connectiveness of everything, because we're just disrupting the balance of this giant life form, and we are just one mini speck that can be erased within seconds. And if we don't find an answer, and if we don't work with our other life forms on this planet, then we are just going to destroy ourselves by acting like we are something separate from them. And back to the story of the cosmic drama, and God then wakes up at the end of the story, and he realizes how crazy and fun everything was, and even if it was horrific or amazing, it was just a temporary experience, and that it was an illusion that was purposeful in the way of learning something that cannot be learned without the idea of forgetting who God is himself. So when you think about it, at the end of your life, you have a memory box that is full up, the book is fully written, and there's no more space to write the book. So the slate is wiped clean, and the lessons are taken in, and then back to the cycle, it continues. And that is the story of the cosmic drama. I hope you enjoyed. This is a concept, I think it's from Mahayana Buddhism, or the Vedanta, which is a Hindu text. This is Alan Watts inspired, and I hope you enjoyed this short story, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments, because I know this is a confusing one, and maybe I didn't explain it the best, but I hope I did a good job, and thank you. I hope I did a good job, and thank you.